Good afternoon, Phillies fans. Welcome back to the Fights Final here on the Edge. Oh, it's the Rest Sports Network. It's your boy, Betty B, on the call. Phillies lose 4-3. In a game that summed up the season. Yeah. You had a lot to unpack here, and we'll get into it. Obviously, let's start off with the first story. Zach Pop. Andrew Painter was going to start. Has a migraine. Zach Pop gets the nod. I guess it was going to be a bullpen game, and then in the third inning, here comes Andrew Painter, and he pitches 5 extremely strong innings and puts the team in a position to win the game. Pop pitched early in the game, first 2 innings, 2 innings. Gave up a run, but left things in pretty good shape for Painter to take over, as he was a gamer today, and he came running in to take over the mound at the third inning and went 5 very strong innings in that process. But of course, the story is going to be, until it changes, is this incompetent offense. And yet again, nothing except for 1 inning of life when it was 4 extra base hits in that was that 6th inning. Phillies fought back from a 2-0 hole at that point, take the 3-2 lead. Left ducks on the pond with nobody out as the barrage of extra base hits was ongoing. And then the hitting stopped, and the runs stopped, and everything else stopped as this offense continues to just mystify, amaze, and dazzle through incompetence. And we're up to now, what is it? 3. They've scored runs in 3 innings out of the last 47. And find their way to a 4-3 loss. Alvarado comes in that 8th inning and has himself an adventure, gives up a couple runs there. But, again, I am not going to sit here and blame Alvarado. And I'm not going to sit here and blame the pitching on this baseball team. There's just no way. Unlike a lot of homers out there, this is not a team effort of losing. This is the offense. Has always been the offense, and it is the offense, and it will be the offense until something changes about the offense. I don't know what that change is. But if you look at that 8th inning where the Phillies had an opportunity, first and second, let me get the scenario down. I believe it was first and second, nobody out or 1 out. Let's backtrack. It was first and second, nobody out, and you got Bryson Stott at the plate. All right, and this is what encapsulates the season for me. First and second, nobody out. Bryson Stott batting in the 5 hole. Yet again, nobody out. Bryson Stott's not a power hitter. Bryson Stott doesn't scare anybody to be a power hitter. Bryson Stott also is not hitting the ball at all right now. So the Arizona Diamondback infield is back. Why are you not bunting? Or was it first and third? I'm sorry, it was first and third. Why are you not bunting there? Your offense is struggling for runs, struggling for some sort of momentum. Why was there not a bunt on, a sacrifice play, or a suicide squeeze? I'm going to say the old-fashioned term. Why the squeeze play wasn't on there? And instead, Bryson Stott strikes out on 3 terrible swings, another garbage at bat, and puts us in a situation, what happened a little bit later on in the inning, where Garcia pops up. Brandon Marsh, I don't know they're like, he lost control of the ball. I don't think Brandon Marsh lost sight of the ball at all. I think he lost sight of the outs. I don't think he knew how many outs there were. Gets doubled off at first because he's not aware that on an infield pop-up, you can't commit to second base with less than 2 outs. Just, again, I don't know even – I honestly don't even know how to explain it anymore. The level of incompetent play. And, we're on day 3 of the Fire Rob Thompson watch, because obviously it's not getting through somewhere. The message is not being received by the players. And, again, in an obvious situation to where Bryson Stott couldn't hit a baseball with a paddle right now. Why not? Why don't you have a suicide squeeze on there? You're desperate for a run. It's not like you're scoring runs, oodles and noodles. You have a gift situation, and the infield was back. They didn't pull the infield up until there were 2 strikes on Stott. You could have laid down a bunt there, man. just no creativity, no nothing. It's wash and repeat. It's as if they're waiting to home run themselves out of this situation. And to me, yeah, at the end of the day, it's the players. But to me, the message has been stopped being received by this team offensively. I'm okay with the pitching, but offensively, there just doesn't seem to be anything more that they're listening to. And you can't fire the 26 players, or you can't fire the 9 position players, but you sure as heck can fire the manager and get a new voice in there. Every day as we lose baseball games, and 7-8, April, right now they're 5-5 in the month of April. The rule of April is just don't lose the World Series, come out of it around 500, a little bit better and healthy. But again, this is not a regular April. This is, April times 5 for me. It's time for a new voice before this thing does get out of hand. And I just, the level of the inability of any sort of creativity offensively. Double steals. What did Arizona do in that 8th inning when they took the lead? Marte and Del Castillo, who were both scratched in this game, did not start. Both came in as pinch hitters. The Diamondbacks are laying bunts down. They're double stealing. They're stealing. What is it? The Diamondbacks they're not a power hitting team, right? I would take the Diamondbacks style of baseball over the Phillies style of baseball any day. I am so done with this nonsense of long ball. I am so done with this type of style of offense. I'm done with these types of players. Give me the Arizona Diamondback players any day and that brand of baseball. Torey Lovullo is bringing out players that had the day off in order to sort of scratch out a run. Rob Thompson can't even call a goddamn suicide squeeze. We're lacking in a lot of things, man. We're lacking in a lot of things, and the manager's top of my list of problems with this baseball team. Welcome back to the show. That was the worst loss of the season. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Painter gutting it out. Gamer comes in, I'm going to pitch. God damn it. Pitches amazingly. And he's backed up with nothing. 3 out of the last 47 innings, they've scored runs in 3 of them. Robs suck. They had multiple chances to tie or go away, but once again, they get bitten by a terrible at-bats from Stott and Garcia. I'm not, absolutely. Because, right, I mean, we can go to the origin of the Stott problem is the fact that he shouldn't be batting 5th in the first place. But you had a tailor-made situation in the 8th inning. I'm speaking only of the 8th inning. And that was a terrible at-bat. It ended up being an extremely bad at-bat. But why was there not a bunt on there? 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Okay, so you don't get so the squeeze is not successful, right? You still move the runner up to 2nd and say you have 1st and 2nd now with 1 out. Why would you turn Stott loose in that situation and expect him to actually make some sort of productive contact with the ball? Let him bunt. Or is this team, do they lack confidence in Stott to bunt? I mean, or any of them to bunt, really. I just don't understand the lack of fundamental baseball that the Phillies play. I don't understand the lack of fundamental baseball that this manager knows how to play. I don't understand the feel of the game of this manager. I don't understand how he has taken every bit of fun out of baseball and sucked it dry in the pursuit of hitting home runs. Terrible. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible loss by a team that's lost their way, by a core of players who, on paper, amazing baseball players, playing together, one of the worst experiments that I can remember. And when we finally put to bed this whole core, when this is all over with, that is all I'm going to think about is just the fact that this was just such a bad idea to put these types of players together on one team. Pena was amazing. I got nothing to talk about the pitching. Yes, Alvarado had a terrible 8th inning, but still 4 runs. That's all they had, and all they had to do was come back from 1. When you give up 4 or less runs in a baseball game, I don't know if you guys understand. This is the major leagues, right? This is not lower level baseball. You should, as a Major League Baseball team, be able to overcome a 4-run deficit or a 1-run deficit in this case. I'm not really upset with Alvarado. I'm not. It was a terrible inning. He got bit. Stuff wasn't good. But Arizona confused the Phillies with all the motion and the pinch hitters they brought up. Again, Torey Lovullo, who I think is a complete idiot, I would 100% take the way he manages over this idiot that we have. There's nothing coming out of that dugout. I don't know what Rob Thompson does. And honestly, I don't know if he's awake for half of the game. Because there's nothing, absolutely nothing coming out of the dugout to be creative, to be different. It's very predictable. Teams have figured this stuff out. It's a terrible baseball product right now. And I don't see it changing in any other productive way other than getting rid of the manager. I don't even care how good Gadeos is in the field when he's the exact offensive clone of Nick Castellanos. It hasn't been a really good, and I know what's the next. He's the cleanup hitter du jour tomorrow. Rob Thompson has intimated that he's going to be the next cleanup hitter. God forbid you put Kyle Schwarber there. Well, we're going to keep. Is the intent to run everybody through the cleanup hole except for the guy that needs to be there? Is that the intent of this baseball team right now? Tell me that, Rob Thompson. Is Justin Crawford on his way to the cleanup spot? Is everybody going to get their chance there? With the exception of Kyle Schwarber, the guy that needs to be batting fourth. Oh, man. This shows you how good our pitchers are, but Jose blew it. He did. He had a bad inning, but still, he left him in a position to win. It wasn't great. Yeah, you need better. And I can turn it around and say with the offense struggling the way it is, you got to be better there, right? But still, 4 total runs in one game should not be a Herculean task for a Major League Baseball team to overcome, especially this team with these players. If it wasn't for Crawford, this offense would be unwatchable. Yeah, he is definitely got the whole thing going in the 6th inning with the first of 4 straight extra base hits. Yeah. Struck out to end the game, though. Why are runs and why I don't know. Why are we've only scored 3 runs in 47 innings? Why isn't Kyle Schwarber batting fourth? Why isn't Justin Crawford being put up on the one hole? Why can't this team bunt? Why don't we steal? Why don't we run double steals? Why is it so predictable? Why are players having days off after a day game? Why is it just a Sunday thing? Why was JT off today? Anybody can tell me that? They didn't play a night game last night. And why wasn't JT used in a situation maybe in that spot in the 8th inning with Bryson Stott coming up in the 5 hole with runners on first and third with nobody out? Why wasn't that situation looked at? Or perhaps a pinch hitter at the end of the game in the 9th inning for Justin Crawford when you're looking for some power there. Again, listen. That question about the runs being not scored and the innings and all that is a valid question, Star Wars, and I don't have an answer for you. I don't. But that's one of about 1 billion questions right now about this team. Painter earns this win, but the Phillies say, no, I pitched a hell of a game. Offense doesn't exist outside of one chunk of offense they get a game. And, in the 6th inning, it was funny because everything, I mean, they broke through to Gallen. They batted him around, or they hit him around four straight extra base hits. And then that's it. It stops. It stops after that. First and second, nobody out. You just scored 3 runs. And then nobody out, by the way. And then 1 out, 2 outs, 3 outs, over. It dies. It materializes and puff, gone. And it wasn't even like it was just so like it came out of nowhere and then it disappeared out of nowhere. It was so goddamn to the extreme, both sides. We have 2 good rookies. Yep. It did not look like Painter had a migraine. Yeah, maybe they hydrated him. Home run will come, Turner. Yeah, he hit that home run. Barely. Mets get the sweep. Mets got swept. Cubs going to sweep us. Oh, we got to get to that. 9-5 got a hit. Garcia had a good that was a nice throw. Yeah, the play at the plate with Marchand. Honestly, if you slow it down in real time, or if you slow it down, it wasn't really that close. His hand was in there long before the ball got there. But the fact that the play was sort of that close is pretty good. It's pretty damn good. I'm not upset with Garcia. Ados is easy out. Pinch him in his hands or throw a slider outside of the dirt, and you're good. Same as Nick. Yeah. I mean, it ain't working out right now, but there's so many more problems with this thing than Garcia. By the way, he's going to be your new cleanup hitter, so you be careful what you say about him. Welcome back to the program today. We're going to go into this game. We are going to break this box score down. We got a lot going on here today. Today's also Sunday, so that means our first full. Very excited about this. We're going to do our first full, or not full, but 90% full of the Down on the Phillies farm segment. Is we're going to profile every level of the minor leagues with the exception of the FCL and the DSL because they have not started yet, but everybody else has started, and they're a good chunk of games into their season. So we're going to get our first crack at the Thrashers, at the Fightins, at the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. We're going to get our first crack at some of those teams today. And then, of course, we'll continue running our Iron Pig thing. So pretty excited about that. It's a summer-long thing we do here on Sundays. So I can't wait to get into that. Let's on the network, there is nothing else today. I am it. I am your final stop of your It's a Wrap Sports Day, the Fightins final. Tomorrow we'll be back at it, though. Here's your schedule for the week. Be on the lookout for this schedule tomorrow morning on our socials. Tomorrow we got Phillies, Cubs postgame and Flyers, Hurricanes postgame. Tuesday, the Gridiron Weekly guys, Phillies, Cubs postgame. Big day on Tuesday. Flyers, Canadians postgame, and then I'll be back on Tuesday night with the final word at around 10:30-ish. I'm going to try to squeeze in that on behind one of those postgame shows, and depending on how late the games go. So this is again our week in advance, our week in a glance of what's going to be happening on the network this week. So again, this will be available tomorrow on our social media sites around 7:00 in the morning, early. Phillies will welcome in the Chicago Cubs on Monday night, and here you go. This is how it will break down. I'll be back tomorrow night. Al will have you Tuesday, and I'll be back Wednesday night. No Wednesday day game this week. It's all night games as the Phillies look to try to get this thing turned around against the Cubs. And we've reached the end of the Flyer regular season. It doesn't mean we've reached the end of the Flyers because they're playing their asses off right now with a good shot of making the playoffs. Matter of fact, if they don't make the playoffs, that would be catastrophic at this point. Mike will have you for the final two games of the regular season. Monday night, he has you for the Hurricanes, and he will be back on Tuesday and for the Canadians. And then we'll wait and see. It's going to be the Flyers and Penguins in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, or is it going to be the Flyers and somebody else, or the Flyers not going to make it? But we'll wait and see everything after that, see where the dice fall. And, of course, the Clear the Ice is proud and happy that we are going to potentially have our first season of playoff hockey, as we've been a show for 4 years. And of course, Flyers haven't been in the playoffs in those 4 years. So we're excited that we'll be able to present to you for the first time ever Flyers playoff hockey postgame. So looking forward to that if it happens. So that's what's going on the network. Let's get into this game. Let's go to the box scores for you. For the Diamondbacks, 4 runs on 9 hits, no errors. 3 runs and 10 hits for the Phillies, and they did commit an error. Offensive standouts, I'm not going to give it to one player. I'm going to give it to the top of the Phillies lineup. Pretty impressive by the top 1 through 4 in this lineup. 8 for 14 on the day collectively. All of them had 2 hits. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, and Marsh, all with 2 hits. Of course, they were the catalyst there with Crawford as well down there at the 9-hole in that big 6th inning where they scored the 3 runs to temporarily pull in front. But 2 for 4 for Turner, 2 for 4 for Schwarber, 2 for 3 for Harper as he continues to really slug his way out of his early season slumps up to 273 batting average. 2 for 4 for Marsh. Again, 8 for 14 as a collective group, as well as all the RBIs today. All the scoring came from the top part of that lineup, which is supposed to. And then Justin Crawford again with the big double to get it all started. He had a 1 for 4 day as well. Other than that, you had nothing from Garcia, nothing from Bohm, nothing for Marchand. Bohm is now batting 148. Rafael Marchand batting 053. I did not know it was that bad. I thought Marchand. So you had nothing at all from basically 5 down. 5 through 9, you had a 2 for 8, 11, 15. You had 2 for 19. You had 2 for 19 from your 5-hole hitter down to your 9-hole hitter. 2 for 19. That ain't nothing to write home about, folks. as Alec Bohm, 0 for 3, looking clueless, lifeless, lost. Just bad. For the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll, pain in the ass for the Phillies today, 2 for 4. Fernandez, a pain in the ass, 2 for 4. Kel Marte comes in as a pinch hitter. So does Del Castillo, who had a big hit in the RBI. And then, just the Diamondbacks find ways to beat you. And they did it today by Torey Lovullo saying, you know what? I might not have started these guys, but that doesn't mean they can't play. And they came in with an opportunity to win a baseball game. And that's the manager. That's what I miss. That's what I miss. I miss that type of manager. I guess there's no program losses for the Arizona Diamondbacks. No scheduled losses. You got Lovullo emptying his bench to try to win a baseball game. And you got Rob Thompson sitting over there, not even awake. They're throwing bunts down, they're double stealing, they're stealing. They're aware of the outs. They don't get picked off at first base with runner in scoring position late in the game. Yeah, they don't do any of that stuff. They just know how to play baseball. That's the kind of manager I want, folks. Done with this nonsense, man. Rob Thompson's got to go. Pitching-wise, Zach Pop, 2 innings, 3 hits, did give up the run. He had a strikeout, but you know what? He held the ship down as we thought it was going to be a bullpen game. But Painter did come in, did pitch solid 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, a run. It was earned, but struck out 7, did not walk anybody. Alvarado, of course, gets the loss, deservedly so, as he had a terrible imploded 8th inning. But still, I'm not blaming this on Alvarado, and I am refused to blame it on Alvarado. Bolin and Meza would also pitch for the Phillies in the losing effort. Zach Gallen was great through 5, then kind of lost it in the 6th. 8 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. The big hit that he gave up was that homer to Turner, the 3-run shot there. Ginkel, Thompson, and Seward will come in and get the save. Clark gets credit for the win for the Diamondbacks, and that's how that is. Scoring summary, McCann would get it going in the 2nd inning, and he would knock in Hernando with a double. And then Nolan Hernando would have hit a sac fly in the 6th to make it 2-0. But here come the Phillies. Trey Turner with the 2-run shot to make things at 2-2. And then Harper would knock in Schwarber to make it 3-2 in the 3-run 6th inning. Fernandez then would knock in Perdomo in the 8th. And Del Castillo, coming off the bench, because it's no such thing as a program loss, would knock in Fernandez with a single, giving the Diamondbacks a 4-3 lead, and they would eventually win the game. Phillies would leave 6 on base, 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Diamondbacks left 7 on base, and we're 4 for 15 with runners in scoring position. And all that is how you get 4-3 Diamondbacks, and the Phillies lose the series. They fall back under 500 at 7-8. And terribly, man. It's just terrible. These guys are playing like little leaguers. Yes. Listen, what happened today with Marsh was a terrible play. That can't happen at the level that this is. I don't really know what was going on. I honestly think he lost track of the outs. That's the only thing that I can understand. Why are you committing on a pop-up to go to second base unless you thought it was 2 outs? There's no other reason. I'm trying to rack my head. I can't imagine Brandon Marsh is that stupid to think he was going to advance on a pop-up. Or unless somebody okey-doked him and said, oh my God, that thing is, faked him out. I don't know. But yeah, the only thing I can think of is he forgot about how many outs there were. And then he gets caught up on second base. I don't know then he realizes, get back. And then he's trying to retouch second base like 5 times. And then he gets completely picked off. And what about Harper earlier in the game? Trying to stretch a single into a double when it was hit to center field. How stupid was that? I get it. There's aggressive play. Then there's stupid play. He was out by like 30 feet. So, yeah, they were playing like little leaguers, but I am not relieving the manager. The manager's got to go, man. The manager's got to go. We need somebody in there that's going to change everything up as much as you can. Yeah, it's definitely more than Garcia. It's basically everyone not named Justin Crawford. And right now, I'm gonna give Harper a pass too. We can rebuild the team with Harper and Crawford. That's what I want to do. This was a scheduled loss. Is that such a thing? I mean, again, when did we start sitting players, day game to day game? When did that start becoming a thing? Why didn't JT play today? You're scratching for runs, and you're going to put Marshawn in a situation that you really didn't need to. I don't understand that. But the Diamondbacks did the same thing, but then they corrected their mistake by putting in their players at the end of the game. I don't know, man. I don't know. Crawford is young. He's not. I think I understood what he meant, Star Wars. He meant no disrespect towards Justin Crawford. Oh, all right. Let's go now to the Broad Street bottom line, if we must. Yeah, Broad Street bottom line to me is this team is, I guess you can sum it up by the 8th inning. That whole inning, not the Marsh play, but that Marsh play and then the Stott decision at the at-bat at Stott and the Marsh thing encapsulates what this season has been so far in perfect unison of what the season has been. Bryson Stott with runners on first and third, nobody out. Bryson Stott couldn't hit a baseball with a canoe paddle. But yet you're going to have him out there freewheeling and free dealing. You're not even considering a squeeze play there. It perplexes the hell out of me. And then, of course, Brandon Marsh getting double off first I know I don't know what the Philadelphia sports media is going to ask Brandon Marsh what happened there. They're lifeless too, so I don't know if they're going to ask him that question because that's a controversial question. Maybe they're not allowed to ask those anymore, or maybe they just don't know how to. Soft ass people. But how you get doubled off there is besides me, unless you, of course, forgot about how many outs there were, which is a little league play. So the 8th inning to me encapsulates what the Philadelphia Phillies are in 2026. A team devoid of any creativity, any sort of outside the box baseball think. And good God, a sacrifice bunt or a suicide squeeze is not outside the box baseball thinking. It's not. It's fundamental baseball. But apparently this team is devoid of thinking in that way. Again, with the way the lineup is negligently constructed, you got Bryson Stott batting 5th, which of course is a terrible concept from the beginning. But yet it worked out in this situation because you had him an opportunity to lay down a bunt. But there was never even the thought of a bunt. And Bryson Stott goes ahead and strikes out and then sets up the rest of what happens that inning. That to me is a perfect capsulization of the 2026 Phillies season right now. A team unable to play baseball other than hit home runs, lack of creativity from the manager, lack of fundamental creativity from the manager, lack of fundamental execution from the team, and just either we're going to hit home runs or we're not going to win. And it's April, folks. We just started down this road of what we're going to have to endure all season. So there you have my Broad Street bottom line. And that was brought to you by the good folks over at such programming as this. The Homer AM show, or I should say the Philly AM sports show starring Big Al and Mike Lauro. If you're not interested in hearing the truth and you want to be, I don't know, gaslighted maybe, smoke screened, filled full of the punch, then check out the Philly AM sports show, where you'll hear such great nuggets of wealth and information like Matt V. Mitchkoff's struggles are because he misses his mommy. That's right, folks. Matt V. Mitchkoff decided not to get on the ice or do any sort of off-season conditioning between the months of April and August last year because he missed Mother Russia, because he was missing standing in line for coffee and really wanted his smuggled in blue jeans and his pirated MTV. That's what he missed, folks. It's not because he's got massive character issues that have been on display for a while throughout his hockey career. No, it's because he misses his mommy. So if you're ready to hear insightful, biting reporting, then you need to check out the Philly AM Sports Show starring Big Al and Mike Lauro every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Tell him Matty B sent you. Oh, man. Please fire the hitting coach and manager. How much more obvious does this have to get? K Long is probably, I don't know if you, you could fire. I have a feeling that, and I don't put that out there, Star Wars, because that's probably all they're going to do. is fired Kevin Long, and that's something that we probably need to keep an eye on, is whether or not they decide that the problem exists with Rob Thompson or Kevin Long. And if they sacrifice Kevin Long in order to keep Rob Thompson, that would be a terrible, terrible thing. But yet that's something that I think everyone needs to keep their eye on, because I would not be satisfied with that. Is Kevin Long going to get sacrificed to the gods here, where it should be both, as you said, or at least Rob Thompson? Again, I don't really. I mean, hitting is hitting, right? These guys have been doing it for their entire lives. I don't really understand what a hitting coach does. I don't care what. Listen, I don't know what you expect Kevin Long to do with Bryson Stott in the 5-hole. He's not Jesus. He's not a miracle worker. You're not going to make Bryson Stott into a 5-hole hitter. That's just not going to happen. You know, who knows? Kevin Long might be also hamstringed by the manager and shaking his head along with the rest of us, saying, I can't work like this. How am I supposed to get Bryson Stott to produce in the 5-hole? Why isn't Kyle Schwarber batting in the 4-hole? You know, he might be saying the same things we are. So why messing around? Let's lop off the head of the snake. And Rob Thompson's got to go. It is time to fire Rob Thompson. Day 4 of the Fire Rob Thompson watch officially here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. All right, let's now head around the bases. It's time to take a look at what's going on in Major League Baseball today. All right, let's go around the bases and around the league. Currently, games that are ongoing. They are in a rain delay in the top of the first. They can't seem to get out of neutral out in Kansas City as they're dealing with rain all day. It is nothing. They were in a rain delay to start the game. They got it started. Here comes the rains again. So it's nothing. Who knows if they're even going to get this game in. In the top of the ninth, it is 6-6 Pirates and Cubs as they're battling their way through it. In the fourth, you got 2-0 Padres over the Rockies. Out in Seattle, it's 2-0 Mariners over the Astros. In LA, it's 2-1 Rangers over the Dodgers. Tonight, you got the Guardians and the Braves as your night game. Games that have gone final, it was 6-2 Orioles over the Giants. 8-2 Twins over Blue Jays. 9-6 Angels over the Reds. It was 1-0 A's over the struggling Mets. I guess it could be worse. We could be Mets fans. 8-2 Tigers over the Marlins. 5-4 Rays over Yankees, and it was 8-6 Nationals over the Brewers, and 9-3 Red Sox Cardinals as well. So there's your scores around Major League Baseball. And a fun fact, it was the Fanatics' birthday today. It was also the Orioles mascot's birthday today, as they were celebrating down in Camden Yards. So, you know, we got to rain on the Fanatics party parade as the Phillies didn't win. So there's your scores around Major League Baseball. And that leads me to my final segment of our day. Before I get to that, again, let's remind you that the Phillies tomorrow will welcome in those Chicago Cubs. Your projected starters right now for the Phillies is Chris Sanchez, and for the Chicago Cubs, Javier Assad. First pitch, 6:40 tomorrow down there at Citizen Bank Park as this 9-game homestand rolls on for the next victim, or I should say the Phillies team that's going to be the Phillies, or the Phillies' next victim. It's going to make the Phillies their next victim. That was a long way to get around to that. Here is your lineup this week for the Fighting Spano, myself, Al, and myself. All right. Again, now let's get to my favorite part of the day. It's great to be back here. It's great to be back. We said it last week when we started this again. We got back into the down the Fighting Phillies down on the Phillies farm segment. This is a segment where we will take a comprehensive look around the Phillies minor leagues, and we'll do it every week. And we'll highlight some of the players of the week. We'll talk about the position player of the week and the pitcher of the week in each level. And we'll also talk a little bit about how the team did as they get through the 2026 season, or they start the 2026 season. This is one of my more favorite segments. We don't discriminate because we talk about all levels. I am still thinking about the DSL. The Phillies have 2 teams down there. That's the problem, man. They got the red and the white team. That would mean essentially adding 3 teams to this with the FCL Phillies when they start here at the end of May. I don't know. I'm going to continue to think on that, but I think that we need to start looking at the Dominican League because there's a lot of good young prospects. Of course, the Phillies, their third prospect currently in the system is playing in the Dominican leagues this year, so I think it might be a good idea to keep an eye on that. But But we are going to give you the most comprehensive look around the Phillies minor league system that anybody does that I know of. And let's get it rolling. And again, today we're proud to get right back at it with everybody. Everyone's in action with, of course, the FCL and the Dominican League. But everyone else is back in action. Now let's roll the tape. We start down there in Clearwater, managed by Aaron Barrett, are the Threshers. Your position player of the week is right fielder Jonathan Hogarth. He finishes the week 7 games played, 5 hits, 3 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, and a .217 batting average. Hogarth was a undrafted free agent by the Phillies, is a signee in 2025, and was part of the round of players, the UDFAs the Phillies picked up last summer after the draft. Played his college baseball in Murray State. Kind of an undersized outfielder, obviously very, very early on in his development. But these are, they all don't come from the draft. A lot of these players, like in the NFL, there's these UDFAs that you can pick up, and sometimes you hit with them, sometimes you don't. And Hogarth had himself a good week to start the season down there for the Threshers. Your pitcher of the week, well, it's the new golden boy, and that's Gage Wood, our former latest first-round draft pick in the 2025 draft. Wood pitched in 2 games, did not get any wins, I should say. Went 7 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 15 strikeouts, 2 walks, and finishes the week with a 1.23 ERA. 15 strikeouts and 7 1/3 innings of work. Do the math, folks. That's pretty impressive. Granted, obviously it's the low A level, but he's turning heads already, and that's right out the gates. 2 starts this week, or 2 starts. So he's the next greatest thing that we're going to keep an eye on. Gage Wood from Arkansas pitched the no-hitter in the College World Series. There's some questions of whether or not Gage Wood has got the durability to be a starter at the major league level. A lot of people might think he'd be better suited as a reliever. I think the Phillies are still kind of on the Gage Wood's going to be a starter train. And until proven otherwise, I think that's how they're looking at him and how they're viewing him right now. And when you go 7 1/3 innings of work combined through 2 games and strike out 15 batters in that time, pretty damn good, justification for the cause that you should be starting. The Threshers were 3-4 this week, and of course are 3-4 to start the season. So let's move from low A up to high A, and that is to your Jersey Shore Blue Claws, and and they're managed by first-year manager. By the way, Barrett's a first-year manager too. First year with the Threshers. We also have a first-year manager up there in Jersey Shore. It's Michael Jones. He's taken over this year for his first season. Your position player of the week, Raider Tello, left fielder, 5 games, 6 hits, 5 runs, a homer, 4 RBIs, and finishes the week with a .333 batting average. Tello was also a UDFA from the Phillies in 2024, as he was signed by the Phillies after the draft. Played his college ball with Iowa, again, low level. Don't really know how much you're going to expect to get from a Raider Tello. Probably won't be in the organization. It's the same with Hogarth. Probably will be moved along at some point, or maybe just fizzle out. But again, to start the season off with focusing on 2 undrafted free agents as your first 2 position players of the week, that's impressive, and it's encouraging, and I like that. Your pitcher of the week is Brandon Beckel. He went 2 games, no wins, 4 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts. So in 4 innings of work, the guy struck out 7 batters, no walks, and a 0.00 ERA. Beckel, a little bit of a different situation. Beckel was a former 12th round pick of the Phillies in 2023, so he was drafted by the organization. So he's making his slow climb up the minors. But again, 4 innings and 7 strikeouts. Do the math. It's 12 outs, and 7 of them he re-recorded strikeouts. The Threshers were 4-3 to get the season going, and of course now 4-3 for the season. All right, moving on up the pike. Let's go on up to Reading and talk about the Double-A Fightins. Where are they at here? There they are. Your players, of course, managed by Al Padrique, who is back for his third year, or his fifth year, I think. He's been there a minute with the Reading Fighting Phillies. Your player of the week, Alex Binelas, first baseman, 8 games, 5 hits, 5 runs, 3 home runs for Alex, 3 RBIs, and a 238 batting average. Alex was actually a former, a third-round pick? Former third-round pick of the Milwaukee Brewers in 2021. Bounced around a little bit, played in the Atlanta Braves system, played in the Boston Red Sox system, and then the Phillies picked him up in May of last year after he was released from the Red Sox, and he's been with the Double-A organization at this point. You know, when we were talking about a player that was drafted in the year 2021, and he's a position player, you know, it's the same thing in hockey. You start kind of looking at that as maybe his career ceiling is going to be that of a minor leaguer. But again, we're looking at 3 players to start off the season from the first 3 levels of the minor leagues that really have no skin in the game here. And it's pretty impressive to see them perform like this. So he's your position player of the week. Your pitcher of the week for the Reading Fighting Phillies, Adam Seminaris, 2 games, no wins, 10.2 innings of work, 10 hits, 3 earned runs, 15 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 2.53 ERA for Seminaris, who's a former 5th-round pick of the Los Angeles Angels out in 2020. Same situation, bounced around from a couple different organizations before landing in the Phillies organization in 2025 in November. So basically just showed up this year. He's part of the team right now. He was the latest with the latest organization he was with Seattle. So he joined the Phillies this year back in November as a free agent, signed with the organization, and he's a pretty impressive start to his season. The Fightins were 3-5 this week and are now 3-5 for the season. So let's finish up our journey up at AAA with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. And here's an interesting first actual player we can take a look at to get a little excited about, and that's Felix Reyes. He is definitely part of the Phillies' future, and this kid is turning heads at all levels that he's played at, and he's gone pretty quickly up through the system. He was a former international international free agent signing out of the Dominican. He joined the Phillies organization, and he's paid his dues, but he's done really well. He joined the organization in March of last year. They assigned him right to Double-A, and he's worked his way all the way up in less than a season because he got promoted to Triple-A late last year. So less than a season in Reading, and now he ends up in Lehigh Valley. For the week, he had 6 games, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, and finishes with a 3.08 average for the week. There was a social media post we put on there. I'm okay with bringing Felix Reyes up for the Phillies right now, just for a look-see in left field, you know, kind of end some of our problems that we're having with the Otto Kemp thing. I say you DFA more, bring up Reyes. He's a defensive option off the bench, and he's got a little pop to the bat too. So this is a kid. You remember that name, Felix Reyes. Felix Reyes. I think you'll be seeing him in pinstripes here real soon, at some point. I think this year. Your pitcher of the week, Ryan Cusick. Cusick, his career, he was a former first-round pick in the 2021 draft of the Braves. He's bounced around from different organizations. This is his 3rd. Joined the Phillies last year, coming out of the White Sox organization. He had 1 game this week, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and a 4.50 ERA for Cusick. Do not expect to see Ryan Cusick anytime soon in Phillies pinstripes. But, you know, again, you're looking at the first week of the season for Lehigh. It's their 2nd week, and it's good to see Reyes. I'm telling you, keep an eye on this kid. You know, as we get this stale, uncreative baseball up here with the Phillies, I would not be averse to giving this kid a shot, honestly. And that is it. We are done. Again, so the Pigs were 3-3 for the week. So far for the first half of the season, they are 9-5 on this young year as they finish their 2nd week of play. And there you have it. Down the Phillies farm. Our first full segment, or almost full segment of the year. Great to get that out of the way with. And we're off and running on down on the Phillies farm. So hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed putting that together. It was fun. But back here in reality, the Phillies lose 4-3 to the Diamondbacks, lose the series 2-3, fall below 500 now at 7-8. Tomorrow the Cubs will come in. Chris Sanchez looks to get the Phillies back on track. But it's not the pitching that's the problem, folks, as we already know that. It's about this damn offense. How much more are we going to endure of this offense before something gives here? Either with a massive shakeup in the lineup or a firing of the manager. Only time will tell. But we're on day 4 of the Fire Rob Thompson watch here on the Fighting's Final, here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And we're going to keep going that way because the end state is Rob Thompson's got to go. A new voice has got to get in there. Someone that's not afraid to call a damn suicide squeeze. Someone's not afraid to bench somebody for forgetting how many outs there are and getting doubled off of first base when the game is sort of on the line. A new voice needs to be heard, and Rob Thompson's voice is not being heard by anybody. And it's time. Somebody who's not afraid to put Kyle Schwarber in the cleanup hole. It's time to make that move. Rob Thompson's got to get fired. And I've said it. I'm saying it. I'm dying on that hill. It's time. Thompson's got to go. So we talk again tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow night for the Fighting's Final. We'll also have some Flyers postgame as well. Guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night on the Fighting's Final. So take care. See you tomorrow night.